Here, and I recognize the gentleman from Connecticut, Mr. Courtney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for your testimony this morning. Again, at the outset, I just would note on Saturday, the 24th Virginia-class submarine was commissioned into the Navy. There are 4 more that are coming online between now and the end of 2026. So, there's no question that the cadence is not where it should be, but if you look at tonnage, and again, if you look at the fact that post-COVID, the yards are recovering. We just had the new Secretary of the Navy at Quonset Point on Friday, who, again, got an eyeful in terms of just the chock-a-block activity that's going on there. So just to go back to AUKUS for a second, Admiral, this committee in record time enacted all the authorities in 2023 per optimal pathway to get, again, that engaged. There still is, in my opinion, a misperception that AUKUS is primarily about just helping Australia. Can you talk a little bit about what it means in terms of the U.S. as far as making our nation safer and also the Indo-Pacific safer?
Yes, AUKUS delivers something to Indo-PACOM that is critical and could be a key advantage, and that is an Indian Ocean submarine base. This gives us faster response time to the South China Sea than in Hawaii, in Washington, in San Diego. It gives us the key ability to maneuver into the Indian Ocean without the burden of having to go through straits. And so it is key. And then Australia is making key investments in the submarine industrial base. As I utter these words, there are 11 Australians stationed on attack boats in Hawaii and scores that are working in the Pearl Harbor shipyard. These are just about a few of their contributions.
And again, the plan is also to have the rotation of Virginia's starting in 2027, I believe, in Henderson in Western Australia, which again, they are making huge investments in terms of the infrastructure that's necessary for that effort. One of the authorities, Mr. No, that we enacted vis-a-vis AUKUS was we had to actually pass a law to allow Australia to invest $3 billion into our industrial base. It was such a novel, extraordinary component of the optimal pathway that we actually, as I said, had to change the Treasury Department's rules to accept that money. As you, I think, should know, the defense minister from Australia, in his visit with Mr. Hegseth, brought the first check for $500 million, which was deposited in the U.S. Treasury. And to follow up Mr. Smith's question regarding the trade war that's happening right now, Australia has a free trade agreement with the U.S. There are 0 tariffs on U.S. goods that come into Australia. As Adam said, there's a 2-to-1 trade surplus from the U.S. into Australia. They're putting money into our industrial base, and yet we are tariffing Australia at the same level as the country of Iran. And I will tell you that, maybe you've had sort of conversations where this hasn't come up. That's not the case for some of us who, are in touch with members of parliament in Australia. There is definitely collateral damage to our allies in terms of what's happening out there. And the picture that was in the news the other day of representatives from the South Korean government and Japan shaking hands with China to announce a new anti-tariff effort by those countries. I mean, we are just pushing people in the wrong direction in this part of the world. And we need more from you in terms of just what is the department's position in terms of advising the White House about the fact that this is driving our allies in the wrong direction.
Congressman, on the issue of tariffs, I mean, that's an issue that's beyond the purview of my personal position to comment on. It's not something the Department of Defense focuses on, but you mentioned the $500 million contribution that Australia made. I was there when Secretary Hegseth met with Deputy Prime Minister Marles. We were grateful, and we are grateful for the contribution Australia is making. That's part of a larger $3 billion investment into our submarine industrial base. Secretary Hegseth said at that meeting, there's more that needs to be done to increase our...
I have just a few seconds left. I mean, this is an all-of-government situation, and you cannot stovepipe the Department of Defense in terms of just what's happening with other parts of the administration. And this trade war, as I said, is driving our allies in the wrong direction, and we need to stop it. I yield back.